broadcasting live from
the Pavillion.
C'est voilà. So welcome everyone, this is Style and Taste, and this is an experiential podcast where we actually choose to broadcast live from places and spaces that really embody relaxation and exceptional hospitality. So likewise, we're always looking to discover people who are transforming the business and are uniquely positioned to be innovative leaders. So today, I'm joined with my beautiful, beautiful, dapper, right? Co-host, Yves Lesueur. By the way, it's okay to call men beautiful too, just FYI. I know Yves, I'm making him blush. But we are joined today by our wonderful host, guest, Sébastien Sylvestri. He is the CEO of the Dinex Group. So for those of you that are not familiar with the Dinex Group, this is actually Chef Daniel Boulud's hospitality group. So with that, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
We are so excited. I have to say, I've been to this restaurant a few times, and every time I still feel the same thing, which is this just overwhelming sense of relaxation.
Wonderment. I think it's when you walk in a place like this, and by the way, there'll be a tour at the very end. There are plants and trees, they're all live. When we walked in this morning, there were lights everywhere, and we were wondering why. It's because they have to be taken care of. So I think it's just a fabulous environment.
Thank you.
So tell us what inspired this. I mean, I've read the articles, obviously. It's truly an oasis. You chose 42nd Street, Midtown,
yes,
which is definitely not necessarily the oasis in
yes,
the city. But for those that have, I know many people have this location on their hit list, their
yes,
bucket list. Tell us about the inspiration. Tell us
well,
more.
look, we had a partnership here with Silvestri, the developer.
Mm-hmm.
And when we had this space here, I think Danielle and Green, we were thinking about what can we do, and the idea was to bring nature and architecture together, and bring that oasis in Midtown. You know, it's like all those big buildings and so much concrete around, so we wanted to bring nature inside, and then we partnered with Ise Winfield, the design firm from Brazil. And then they designed this beautiful restaurant for us, and then as you see, we have our very own garden and trees and plants inside our restaurant that really give look and feel that it's just incredible.
There's no fruit, obviously, right? Because people might pick it and be eating it in the restaurant. You know what really strikes me about this restaurant, and I have definitely visited plenty of Daniel Boulud's different restaurants. There is there's kind of a refined elegance, but it's still casual.
Yes.
And this is a Michelin star restaurant. So
Yes.
I think what strikes me is that in the fashion industry, we talk about quiet luxury. That is the new concept,
Yes,
right?
yes.
This understated the quality. And I'm beginning to feel and see that there is a trend in the dining world. And I'm curious, is it a new trend? Is casual luxury, not quiet luxury, but is casual luxury the new dining trend?
Well, that's a great question. So let me tell you a little bit about the group. We celebrated a big milestone last week. Restaurant Daniel, our flagship restaurant, celebrating its 30 years anniversary.
That's quite something.
And when you look at the world of fine dining or the restaurant industry, 30 years is not a lot of restaurants that make it for that long. And being so relevant 30 years after, it's even more incredible. So for sure, when we look at our group, and we have many more than just one restaurant, and I'll touch on that later, but we are definitely not, what can I do, a trendy type of restaurant group. Actually, if you look at the longevity of the brands, it's been about consistency, delivering an incredible hospitality, delicious cuisine, great service, and I think that's been the key of Daniel's success over the years. What Daniel has done over the years is evolve and develop new brands, and if you look at this restaurant, the Pavillion, we were touching about it, the idea was we've seen people also eating differently, they're looking for different type of experiences, etc. And we didn't want either the Pavillion to compete with Daniel. We wanted to complement the offering that we have. And if you look at the whole group, we have a lot of different brands that complement each other. And at every price point too. You can go to Daniel and have an incredible tasting menu experience with wine pairing above and beyond delicious and greatness. And then you can go to the Epicerie Boulud and talk about casual experience or approachable luxury or or quite luxury, you can go there and have the most delicious croissant, or the
Definitely.
most delicious salad or sandwich or quiche or whatever it is at a very, very affordable price. And so, we definitely not, I used to work in lifestyle before, and then I had some experience there. I was in Las Vegas for a very long time. But I think, Danielle, the key to his success has been the hospitality, caring for the guests, the passion that we have, the passion that we have in the kitchen, the passion that we have thinking of the guests. You'll see Danielle, or you'll see the whole team every day going table to table, making sure that we're going above and beyond in delivering this experience there. And I think that's been kind of the motto of the group.
I think that, well, since you brought it up, we're talking about all these ventures,
Yes.
all these initiatives, not just here in New York, but
Yep.
abroad,
Of
in
course.
LA and all
Yep.
of that. Is there a thought in there that how do we continue to convey the kind of quality that Daniel Boulud is known for without diluting that? Because as
Of
you
course.
said, Chef Boulud cannot be in 50 places at a time.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I mean, we are. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it feels
we're in a
like
lot-
it.
We're cloning Daniel somewhere.
In New York City, every night we go around all our restaurants and try to touch everyone. How do we do it? How are we in Singapore successfully? How are we in the Bahamas? How are we in Montreal? How are we in Toronto? It comes down to your team. It comes down to the people, because obviously when you expand internationally, you really need really solid team that represents you very, very well. And really the process that we have in place is when we appoint a chef or a general manager in one of our restaurants overseas, we like to appoint someone that has been working with us for a long time, someone that knows our kitchen, someone that knows Danielle's recipe, someone that has the culture, has the Dinex culture, and someone that can execute flawlessly overseas. And then we have a great, we're a small group, but we have a bit of infrastructure, and then we have people that travel consistently. We travel and touch on those restaurants as often as
You're always gone.
We
It feels like you're always
if you,
gone.
if you look at our schedule, I was just in the Bahamas, then I was just in Palm Beach. We're planning, we're constantly traveling and touching with the team and working on the next menu. We do seasonal menu change very frequently throughout the year. So we work with the team locally, always try to source locally, and then make sure we execute at a high level.
You touched on something that I just read an Esquire article that was shared with me by one of my team members, and it was really enlightening to read how different and challenging it is to work in the kitchen, because I don't think the readers, actually, our viewers, know, but things are literally prepared on order versus many kitchens where there is prep. And I think that is tremendous given the volume and the quality and just the beauty of everything that is created. So, I mean, honestly, I think there's a really interesting statement about there's probably not a chef in the world that hasn't some way, somehow been touched by Chef Daniel Boulud. So for someone who's running, this, you are the CEO of a huge hospitality group, and I still kind of come back to, is there a new type of clientele that you're seeing, and are you also designing this kind of casual luxury to speak to the new clientele? Obviously age is changing, demographics are changing. During the pandemic, things have changed. I feel like I see a shift. Across all of the different great chefs, I see there is a trend, and I'm not quite sure what we call it. So please do tell me. I know there's a strategy.
There's a change in the demo.
There's
I've
a
been
strategy.
sitting here at primetime dinner on Saturday, and I noticed young couples. And so I think what the people that we thought that luxury was really dedicated for, if you can afford it, if you have the time, if you have the opportunity, I think this is changing. So address that.
But I think there's an appetite for good hospitality, and New York City is the capital of the world. People love going for a wonderful dining experience, and I think what Daniel has done over the last 30 years is when you go and visit any of our restaurants, you're going to get great food and great service and great hospitality depending the level that you go. For sure, we love having new diners come to our restaurants. This restaurant has been fantastic. We're on we've celebrated second year anniversary last week, and we earned our first Michelin star after the first year, so that was very exciting. But you will come for lunch. There's no tablecloth, so it's less formal.
Yes.
The food is seafood and vegetable focused, so we see people eating more fish and more vegetable and trying to eat more healthy. So when they have something and a place where people could come 2-3 times a week and not being bored by and have things to eat every day, but that are good for you. A restaurant like Daniel is more an experience-driven restaurant. People will go for special occasion or it's a birthday, it's an anniversary, it's a special occasion.
You know, Sebastien, I'm going to challenge that. What I think that, which excites me, is that oftentimes that has traditionally been the case, and perhaps it's because we're spoiled because we're New York City. For us, this is like, at least within my group of peers, we see this as the choice place. We don't think about it as special occasion. For me, it's like there are so many places in New York City that we can go.
Yes.
And the design of this specifically speaks to me. This is the place where when I want to relax, it doesn't need to be a special occasion.
Yes.
Every time I walk into this restaurant, I feel very much like you have just taken the stress of the day away. So that's special, but that should be something that happens every day. So I love, and I know you're going to show us the bar area, but I think the design of this space has really capitalized on what we need, which is that phrase of an oasis in the city. You've nailed it. And perhaps that is potentially the expansion across attracting the new type of client or the customer. And even I think about the way people dress. And we were discussing that while we were waiting for you this morning. We were watching, and I've lived in the city for such a long time. And there's this casual style that's permeating. I mean, I miss the formality to a degree, but do you envision more of these types of restaurants? And can you share, and can you really share the secrets of, will there be more of this style, or is it going to be much more casual?
Okay. Let me share with you, we just opened a new restaurant on Monday, and we opened at the Landmark, Tiffany the Landmark. We opened Blue Box Cafe, and that's been an institution also for many years. It's another iconic New York moment. You go there, you have breakfast at Tiffany. We opened on Monday. The restaurant is really small. It's beautiful, designed by Peter Marino, really beautiful design. And I think we have over 10,000 people on the wait list on the first week.
Wow.
And then we're able to accommodate only maybe 60 guests at the time in the restaurant. So it's but if you look at it, it's not a formal dining multi-course experience. You'll get a breakfast at Tiffany, or you get afternoon tea, or you can get a delicious lunch. But we've seen people really dressing up for that. So it's so funny on day one, we have people really into it. And then you also will see people that will come and dress more casually for the experience. Yeah, I think we see it everywhere. I think people do like to dress up, but at the same time, you also have a lot of people that will come out, dine more casually.
Yeah.
They'll still wear beautiful clothes or designer clothes and all of that, but they will wear sneakers. We see more and more people wearing sneakers.
Let's going back to what we talked about quiet luxury.
100%.
Fashion.
Right.
It's big print.
100%.
You can wear Brunello Cucinelli.
Yes.
There's no marks anywhere, but you know that you look at the jacket.
Exactly.
And by the way, we are not endorsing Brunello Cucinelli, just
We're
for the
not.
record.
But then again, if Bruno
reference.
wants to come out and talk to us. No, but I think that we've seen this a little bit. I
Yes.
think that people are getting away from brands and really kind of focusing on the experience.
Very true.
So I think that restaurant like this one, and even to a certain extent, if you go to Daniel, you may have a special occasion in mind, especially if you're not a New Yorker.
Yes.
If you're from outside of town, going to Daniel is a big thing.
It's a destination for sure. People when they travel to New York, it's an iconic restaurant that people want to visit.
Experiences and experiential. So that's really my core background, creating experiential. And so what I've been trying to translate in the industry of retail and shopping is that the partnerships with establishments that are hospitality driven first. So I agree with you. if you're asking someone to travel one block, one avenue, to get on a plane, that the first thing they're looking for is not that you're asking them to shop for something, you're asking them to experience and to relax and enjoy the hospitality. So I also am very curious. I grew up in Tokyo, so hospitality and the way that we endeavor to service clients is very different than it is in the United States. And I think it's nice to see that there's a transition, but would you say that the experiential, because I see it here, this is immersive. We say immersive in our industry, but this is immersion. You know, nature, the taste, the senses, the lighting. If you were going to, let's switch roles.
Okay.
I become the CEO of Dinex.
Okay.
I'll tell you maybe what I would do.
Okay.
But curious, if you were an experiential designer,
Yep.
what would you do in this space? If someone said, you know, we're going to open our doors to you, what would you do in this space to transform the dining experience differently if you were not in the hospitality dining world?
Oh, that's a tough question that you're asking me.
I think I stumped it. This is good.
No, but look, we try to be creative for sure. Especially Daniel is a creative mind of the group. You know, I'm more focusing on running the business side, the marketing side, the finance, the development, and all of that. But really, what we do, and we travel a lot, so we get exposed to a lot of different cultures. We, for sure, every time we travel, we get new ideas and all of that. But we look at the guests and we look at what it is that they want, what it is that we can develop that they're looking forward to. For example, we're working on a project that I cannot talk to you about. I'll disclose yet, but we're going to try to do something very, very different than what we did before. And if you look at all the brands here, you have Bar Boulud, that is this wine bar, charcuterie, traditional. You have Le Gratin, it's Lyonnaise cuisine. You have Le Pavillion, that is seafood and fish and vegetable driven. And you have Daniel, these incredible fine dining restaurants. And you have Boulud Sud, which represent the Mediterranean. So we have different concepts that have an identity and all that. And so developing new concept, when we have to develop a new concept, we really put our creative hats on and look at what it is that we could do. I'm going to give you an example. In this building, especially you told me you're from Tokyo, you grew up in Tokyo, right? We partner with a Japanese chef. His name is Ruan, and we open a 10-seat omakase restaurant in the basement of this building connecting to Grand Central Station, like a secret sushi place, like you will find in Tokyo.
Now you don't know. Now you know.
It's
It's not secret anymore. But
my point being, 10-seat omakase Japanese. Daniel has been done for the last 30 years for his delicious French food and all of that. But Daniel partnered with a Japanese chef, and then we're supporting them. George is obviously the executing, but we're supporting them, and we've surprised a lot of people. Nobody expected Daniel after 30 years to launch in collaboration with George a Japanese restaurant here in Grand Central and Vanderbilt. So
isn't that the key though? Is to constantly
innovate.
surprise.
yes, delight.
Innovate, and for sure. But the DNA, there's one thing that doesn't change is that sense of hospitality, the experience, the quality. You know, obviously, if you go to Jōji, I love Jōji. It's incredible, delicious. It's one of the best Japanese experience I ever had, and I had here in New York City. But all the produce, they fly all the fish from Japan. The producers are just incredible. The service is amazing. The design it's so beautiful. So it still has the same DNA that we have at Restaurant Daniel or here at Le Pavillion.
Okay, so not to forget this thought, but everything being flown in. Let's talk about Las Vegas.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Las Vegas is, in so many ways, it's obvious it's growing, expanding, but it's also such a contradiction. I've eaten at plenty of restaurants in New York City that have the same name and license too, and the minute I taste the food in Las Vegas, it does not hold water to the quality.
Oh, really?
I mean, 500, thousands of people.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine. How do you do that?
So, look, I spend a lot of time in Las Vegas. I was there for over 10 years. I think there's one thing that Las Vegas do well is volume, right? It's when you look at all those big casinos, I used to work for Sands for a long time, the Venetian, Palazzo. If you look at the Bellagio, the Wynn, and all of that, they execute very, very well. They have great infrastructure. They have teams, large teams in place.
Everything's been flown into
yeah.
it.
So
Wow.
and they've been bringing a lot of talent, and they have program and training program in place that are amazing. So I respect a lot the work that has been done in Vegas because you have some of the best professionals that have moved there and I live there. I mean, I remember outside of our brands when Joël Robuchon opened at the MGM and he opened the Mansion, he opened L'Atelier, Guy Savoie came at Caesar Palace. I mean, there's this big movement, some of the biggest name chefs coming to Vegas, and they were executed at a really, 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 really high level. So I've seen it done very successfully. Or if you look at Julian Serrano was one of the first ones to have Picasso, Jean-Georges when he opened at the Bellagio Prime, the steakhouse. So you've seen big names, but yeah, the volume in Vegas is just
It's a different experience
It's
altogether.
I don't know
very
how they
different.
do it.
But you look at brands also like Carbone, they open at Aria, and look, or Wolfgang Park in Las Vegas has got a huge footprint, and it's I remember when we had cut at the Palazzo, it was one of the top performing steakhouse,
Yeah, absolutely.
and they were doing a very, very good job. But Vegas is a different place.
Yeah.
We're looking for different things.
It's different. People go there.
I mean, no, really. I mean,
Yeah.
in more ways than one.
I
What
remember-
things are we looking for?
But
Ian?
I remember when I worked there, the president at the time would always say, people come to Vegas to have a good time. The day we stop giving them a good time, this is the day they'll stop coming, right? So that's why it's always best entertainment, best shows. Now you see they have Formula One coming, probably be going. So it's incredible. They have sport team. They pretty much have everything.
So are you moving
now.
back to Vegas? Is
No,
that what's
I'm not.
happening?
No.
Okay.
But
Well, you talk about involvement.
No, but
It
I'm
evolved.
talking about when you see how Vegas started and what it's
Yes.
become now.
Yes.
And in terms of quality, the room products. I mean, they've done a lot of work. But now, if you want to compare the two, because I had the chance to live in LA, live in Miami, live in New York, and live in Las Vegas. Vegas, they do well. On the conventions, they do it better than anybody else because they have the infrastructure, they have the size, they have the keys, the hotel rooms, and they have all the F&Bs and the big banquets. So they do that very well. But I think New York is probably the capital in the United States for good
thank
for good
goodness.
dining.
Aspiration.
Thank
Coming to New York
goodness.
is a thing.
And New York is such a very special place.
We agree.
Now I've been here almost for 4 years, and I enjoy New York very much. I think at the beginning I had to adjust, especially the weather. I was not used after living in the West Coast for almost 20 years to the brutal winter that you can get in New York
Oh,
City.
it's not that bad.
But you get used. You're right.
Yes.
It is not bad. But you get.
True New Yorker. It's not that
Yeah,
bad.
it's not that bad.
But I'm enjoying the culinary scene very much. I think that we eat so well in New York. There's so many different places, from really casual to super high-end fine dining to street food. You really eat well
We do eat
in New
well.
York City.
Well, we're about to run out of time, and you know what that
It's
means?
worth a second conversation at some point in the future.
Absolutely. But I think we would be remiss to not showcase this Oasis that I keep referring to. For those that have not visited, this is the time for you to get a sense of it, because I think photos don't really do it justice. So we're going to meet you at the bar.
Definitely.
So why don't we just take our audience for a little tour?
Sure, I will be delighted.
See you
Please
there.
follow me. Thank you. So welcome to the Pavillion. And my favorite building right here, the Chrysler Building. Talking about a landmark, just right here, spectacular.
So this is just such a spectacular view, and we were just talking about this countertop earlier, and very specifically, these are the small details I think that make everything so special. This ombre, texture and color, the Oasis. But to be really candid, everyone knows that we cannot end a recording without the most important question. And the question is, Sebastien, which is your favorite champagne?
What is my favorite champagne? I have so many. I think Salon is one of them. Krug, I love Krug. I love a good Blanc de Blanc because I like the Chardonnay grapes in champagne. But yeah, there's nothing like a delicious glass of champagne. And let me see if I can find a bottle for us. Maybe we can have a little toast.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you very much.
It's not a secret. Everyone knows that I'm a big champagne fan, so.
Well, someone must do what they must do in this particular case. I think that when you look at this environment, you realize how special it is.
1,000%.
Right away, you see it.
I mean, it feels like when you're in Central Park and you look around and you see the skyline, but you realize you're in Central Park. In a way, this Oasis and looking up and seeing all the buildings and the skyline of Midtown actually is the same experience.
Yeah, and I think that if you see it on television, in the movies, it's one of those truths. They say that the one thing that doesn't is great. To see it up close.
Sure.
I think New York City here, especially, never disappoints. It brings energy.
By the way, did you hear the pop? I heard the pop.
I
That's a
did.
very happy pop
Well,
sound.
I've known you a long time, and that's one of those things that makes you happy.
Absolutely. I have.
I love drinking champagne in wine glasses, so if you will pardon me.
Oh, I love it.
And
If there's champagne, there's nothing wrong with
I was gonna say more is more.
we're going to drink a glass of rosé, black caramel.
And by the way, it is the morning, but my golden rule is champagne is perfect for the morning, perfect for the afternoon, and perfect for the evening.
In Paris, it's a little bit later in the day, so we're all good.
Exactly. Fair enough.
Enjoy.
Fantastic. Well,
Merci
thank you
beaucoup.
so much.
Welcome to New York.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you. And thank you to our audience, and we hope you've enjoyed and discovered something very special. So until next time.